started. Come on now. Let's get started. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. It's Wednesday afternoon. I got a stand-up show tonight. I'm very excited you could be here with me because some people, hump day is the day they get over the hump and start coasting into the weekend. Not me. No, I view hump day as the crest of the mountain, to be packed with as much snowpack of work as possible on the very peak as I lift up my arms in my big brown jacket and go, Drago! Really loudly as a helicopter. Never mind. Anyways, hi. Good stuff. Welcome, chat room. Glad you guys could join us today as well. Excuse me. Hopefully, after many restarts and all that kind of stuff, the audio is relatively in time. I think maybe, possibly. Yes, people are mentioning Christine McVeigh from Fleetwood Mac passed away. Very sad. Apparently, it was a short illness. They're not saying what. At her age, it could have been pneumonia. It could have been any number of things. It's just really sad and amazingly talented woman. And so that'll be the music tonight as I'm driving to the show, because that's what I do. Thanks. Everything sounds good, looks good. Here we are. It is good. Now, a fairly provocative title today because I very seldom, even in the deepest recesses of my predictions, do I go full like these. This is the end. But now, all across, there's a big swath where It's distinctly looking like the collapse is imminent. And will it fall in days? No. But like this is one of those things where this week in particular, there's a bunch of places where a stake was driven into the heart if only it takes a few months or a couple of years to actually make the vampire pass away. But holy smoke. Yes, every dang day is precious. Agreed, Cosmic Rose. And by the way, hi chat room. There you are. I'm looking at you. Here's looking at you, kids. Good to see you. Lots of stuff, and it's interesting to me the kind of parallels between the kind of the exaggerated worth and skill level and smarts and just the arrogant puffery of MAGA, China, and Russia that all seems to be collapsing at the same time, like a flan in a cupboard, as the great Eddie Izzard would say. And as I watch the protests that are going on in China and the voices sort of percolating up in Russia about like they lose more of Kherson and then Crimea done, and then MAGA itself having these kind of freak out pains, it's kind of oh, thanks, John. I appreciate it. And thank you for being there. By the way, reminding everybody, if you follow Philip Ittner on Twitter, at Philip Ittner, 1L, 2 T's, please share him with whatever political podcast or whatever and say, you might want to have this guy on as a guest. Help hook that up. That we're on that project this week. And I've got a couple of people I think I'll have locked down by the Saturday show by radio. So yeah, it's if you can help, please do. And if you can't, sit back and enjoy the show. That's how we roll. Now, where do I want to go first? I feel like we should go to new territory today, right out of the gate. Now, I've got to finish the show kind of right on time today, 5-ish, so that I can beat feet and get the hell out of Dodge and go to Flappers tonight for the comedy show. If you're a patron, you can come to the show. And then I have to be there early enough where I can hand type in the codage that allows me to stream directly to the lovely folks over at Patreon. So got to get out of here and get over there because LA traffic is a thing. That said, I've got way too much stuff to cover as per usual. Now, this is an interesting group of folks right here. This is on Real America's Voice, Dr. Gina, and her show. Largely, Real America's Voice is like an adjunct of Frank's speech. It is kept almost entirely afloat by Mike Pillow's promo codes and this woman in the middle of the screen's glower. It is a frown that can sink boats and rise tides. And it wasn't enough to give him a red wave, but what the fuck are you going to do? Now, this one says, this is Lieutenant Steven Rogers, not to be confused with my favorite superhero, Steve Rogers, who remained at a captain, even though I feel like he could have, easily made general. We're seeing the first, we're seeing the 21st century evil empire in action. Now, presumably they mean China. At this point, they definitely don't mean Russia. We're pretty sure they just mean the Biden administration, for reshoring chip factories and passing an infrastructure bill and getting the lead pipes out of the ground. It's terrible. I know. All right.
We spent a lot of time on last night's show talking about this, about China, about
China.
Freedom.
Dr. China talks about China.
Have just been stripped away from the people there, about how the Chinese Communist Party locked onto power and eliminated and silenced any of their opposition.
Yeah. 5 decades ago?
During the Chinese Civil War, where the Chinese nationalists were at war with the communists who were backed by the Soviet Union, the communists, led by Mao,
everybody taking notes?
Turned people against their fellow countrymen. Rich versus poor, the working class versus the business owner, the peasant versus the landowner. How similar does class warfare sound used against its own people? We're seeing this here now.
No, we're fucking well not. There are not large groups of renters murdering people who own apartment buildings and killing priests and burning down temples and destroying religious and cultural texts. We haven't looted museums and set fire to them. Fuck you.
But in China, businessmen and landowners were demonized. It became moral, the right thing to do, right? To kill a landowner and take their land. The communists were for the working man, they said. And they said they would make everybody equal if they would join the civil war to defeat the Chinese nationalists. Long story short, the nationalists retreated to Taiwan. The communists took over China.
By the way, this is obviously Cliff Notes. But again, reminder, Taiwan was never under the CCP. Hasn't been. So this idea that they're going to claim Taiwan is ludicrous. Because the CCP is not China. Any more than Republicans or Democrats are America. As much as Republicans, by the way, the Chinese Communist Party and the language of the Republicans often overlaps in this whole real America. That if you're real Americans, take our country back, blah, blah, blah. Like the language you hear about the right wing, especially, very similar to Taiwan as part of China, one China, uber alles.
Himself the ruler over China and Taiwan. And to this day, as you know, China still claims Taiwan. Now, after the communists took over the country, they cracked down on anyone who disagreed or dissented in any way. They took the land away from the peasants and it became the property of the state. The economy completely plummeted.
Oh, the irony.
Productivity plummeted as well.
And by the way, there's a lot of I got to understand, I'm bored too, but this is the first time a lot of people watching Real America's Voice are seeing this, and they're chewing during the entire thing, so they're only catching about half of it.
Communists had to turn people into slaves, killed about 5 million of their own citizens.
Try 30?
That, my friends, is how communism works every time. Now, in current day, the peasants are rising up again, this time because they are...
Well, the peasants and the people going to the really fancy universities and the middle class and, yeah.
Tired of the communists and the oppression in the CCP. And perhaps the scariest part of this whole situation we're seeing right now
is that blouse.
How we see so many parallels here in the United States to what
No, you don't. Piss off.
They're watching go on in China under the CCP.
There are fucking zero parallels. If you tried to do a gymnastic routine on parallel bars that separate, you would die.
Left, rank and file, they don't recognize it. But you and I see it.
Well, of course we do. You and I Dr. China. We see China for what it is. Vagina.
We're going to stay on top of it on this.
Oh boy, are we.
Program. Lieutenant Stephen Rogers is a retired naval intel officer, and Katie Arrington served in the Pentagon during the Trump administration.
Okay, so maybe she can tell us about Trump's bank account that he still has there. Now. Today.
They join me right now. Good to see you both. I tell you what,
maybe she could tell us about Ivanka's products that are made there now. Today.
Say the words Trump administration, and I realize in my head over and over again, this would not be happening right now.
That's true. Because Trump would be siding with Xi Jinping against the people, and he'd go, well, he's a strong guy. You got to give him credit for that.
We still had Donald Trump at the helm. Lieutenant, I keep looking for...
But is that the helm? Is that one of his golf courses?
Hope that these freedom fighters can actually win against the CCP.
Well, one man's freedom fighter is another man's Foxconn employee.
But as we discussed on this program last night, since
yes, please remind us. I missed it.
They aren't armed. They don't have a Second Amendment right. I don't know how they can win against an armed, militant, tyrannical style government. Is there a path to victory for the people?
Dude, if in any large-sized country like that, if you had protests like they have right now and people had guns, it would give the government an excuse to murder people. Are you out of your fucking mind? You imagine throwing guns into the mix of this situation? The Chinese government wishes there were guns involved so they could just kill these fucking people and say it was a coup. They literally could, because they have control of the internet over there, they could concoct someone that they were all following. They could digitally take all the blank pieces of paper they're holding up and they could put somebody's fucking face on it and go, these people were followers of, Li Junman, and so we had to put them down because they were violent and they were killing everybody.
There, Steve?
There is, and we saw that path to victory against the Soviet Communist Party when Ronald Reagan was in office. What we're seeing, Dr. Gina, is the 21st century evil empire in action. Those of us in the intelligence community always knew it wasn't a matter of if, it was...
This dude, is there a single piece of Americana regalia behind him that you cannot buy at a truck stop besides the flag and the Reagan picture? Seriously, like the Liberty Freedom picket fence thing, the USA above him, even the boat. Like, I've seen these at gas stations in my driving across the country.
Matter of when, and when is now. Now, you mentioned in your opening that the Chinese Communist Party are silencing their people. Well, they've been very busy for the past several years, maybe a couple of decades, trying to silence the United States government and other governments that would speak out against them. And how did they do that? Well, compromising Joe Biden,
Again, based on fucking what? If any of that shit is true, why are we siding with Taiwan? Why is Joe Biden saying we would defend them with physical force and our own troops if they were attacked? Why? If he's compromised, show me how it's benefiting China. Honestly, if Joe Biden took $1 billion from the fucking Chinese, the dude suckered them. Like, it was the biggest, gotcha bitch in American history.
hit administration. We have CCP police departments in New York City, in Toronto, Canada.
Yes, which is obviously under Toronto's under Biden's jurisdiction. Also, they were there during the entire Trump administration. You're only finding out about it now, and we're brooming them because Biden is in office.
All over the place, trying to compromise those of us who would stand up and speak out against them.
Oh, so somebody tried to honeypot this fucker, and he's like, not so fast, Maylin. I'm not falling for it. Yummy.
Very concerned about their image worldwide. Make no mistake about that. But once we get a new administration in, a new president in, and we're going to be able to talk to them through strength, not through wokeness.
Strength, not wokeness, instead of weakness. I see what you did there. we did have that president in. All of this shit still was true. What the fuck did Trump do? He worked on a 3-phase trade deal with them. He raised tariffs on some stuff. Standard run-of-the-mill import-export bullshit. By the way, excluding his daughter's trademarked items. But please tell me again how Biden, who is opening more chip factories in the United States than at any time in history, specifically through that support, and by the way, partnering with the Taiwanese to make sure that the factories they have there can duplicate and create those chips over here in the United States, in fucking Arizona, by the way, that making them over here so that if China did attack Taiwan, our national security would not be endangered. The fuck is this guy talking about? I still haven't figured it out. They bring this shit up all the time.
We spent a lot of time on last...
Wait, was that the end of it? Hold on.
Police departments in New York.
Oh, yeah, that's it. That was the whole thing. Shit. So basically, this guy is he's just there to say like 3 or 4 talking points, which have died on the vine. Trolls, maggots, you guys can, maybe some of you assholes can explain this to me. What is it specifically? Give me some specifics. What is it that Biden has done that in any way benefits the Chinese Communist Party in terms of our national security, our financial well-being, anything? Something. Chuck it in the chat. What is it? And don't tell me shutters on his fucking lake house. I'm still trying to figure out how they even say it. Yeah, China's never been more isolated. We're delisting companies from the stock market. There's way more fucking limitations on Chinese business in the U.S. The tech sector alone will put China back 10 fucking years. And by the way, none of it is special to right now. None of the stuff that Biden is doing couldn't have been done during the fucking Trump administration. None of it. Yeah. Honest to fucking God, I don't know what... They say this so often, and I have yet to see any of them, speak to a specific policy of any sort. Because he fell off a bike, right? Right, the infrastructure. And by the way, again, the biggest solar panel factory in the Western Hemisphere is in Marjorie Taylor Greene's fucking district. Thanks to Joe Biden. Thanks to the infrastructure bill. Thanks to the rescue package, which had more climate, beneficial renewable energy tech in it than even the 2009 rescue package. Not a single fucking reference. Not a one. What is it? Please, and I'm by the way, audience, I'm asking you guys, if you see any of these folks say the Biden administration did this for China, or China is getting this benefit from us, please let me know what the fuck they're saying. I haven't seen, and you guys know we cover these kind of videos and this kind of claptrap all the goddamn time, and yet I have not heard a single goddamn reference in the whole thing. Not one of them where this tax break that or they allowed us satellite technology or nuclear secrets about any of that shit. We've never clamped down harder on sharing technology with China in American fucking history than under Joe Biden. And again, most of this shit was possible during Trump. He just didn't fucking bother. I guess that would be the other question for the maggots and the trolls that are out there. I see you. Why didn't Trump bother? Why? If any of the bills Biden passed to reshore factories and support those kind of things would have passed with both Democrats and Republicans if Trump had tried to do it, why didn't he? Why didn't he do it? Nothing. Fucking nothing. It's, yeah. So, I've yet to see anybody yammering about this. Now, this one might be a little longer than necessary, but we don't really go to these guys very often. But you guys will be familiar with Clayton Morris,
all right.
This dude right here. So Clayton Morris and his wife, I think, they live in Portugal or something. They had to flee the country because they bilked a bunch of Indiana homeowners out of their money. And he used to be on Fox News, and now he's on the run. So, of course, he's a voice for right-wing politics, and he's big Putin apologist, big, like hate China, love Xi, kind of like, it's weird. It's hard to peg down what he actually means, and I'm curious to see if he actually says anything about it. But I'm pretty sure this one, hang on, so China can't do brutal lockdowns, but we can? Okay, first of all, fucko, we didn't do brutal fucking lockdowns. Nobody was arrested for leaving their fucking house. I think the most egregious things we ever saw in the Western world were Australia. Maybe to some limited degree New Zealand, but they managed to keep their case load incredibly low. But nothing like that in the United States. Like, people who opened bars or insisted on gathering people together would get in trouble, fined or whatever, or they'd shut the place down. But not being able to go in a particular place is not the same thing as not being able to leave yours. The Chinese were welding people into their fucking apartment building. One of the reasons why the protests jumped off, and it's a bunch of things. Everybody's saying it's because of this one fire in Urumqi, but it's actually a myriad of things. Like, it's the Shanghai screaming from the towers. It's the drones telling everybody not to moan too much. It's the watching people snatched off the streets. It's the beating to death of people's pets when they test positive and they're taken away. They beat your pets to fucking death. It's awful. It's all that stuff. So, and then the 8 dead in the allegedly, because we don't know the real detail. Everybody's saying the fire was the last straw. I don't know, because it's everywhere. And again, we had the people who were in the dorm at Foxconn, which is the factory where Apple makes most of its iPhones. I guess the majority of the iPhones are in China, are made there, but their biggest factory, because they have multiple factories around the world. So the majority is spread out, but that's the one place that makes the most. It's a distinction without a difference for all practical purposes. But those folks, like 8 people died in a dorm room, and then everybody, like, that, I think that was spreading when the fire happened, because people were storming down the road. There were these My Pillow versions of stormtroopers, these guys in these hazmat suits. Which, by the way, I don't know how, if the idea is that you have to get tested, and if you're exposed, you have to lock down and all this kind of stuff. And the cops are in these hazmat suits. If you get a tear in your fucking hazmat suit and the rules are that draconian, you've been exposed. Therefore, every one of those cops, their phone would go red and they couldn't go anywhere. Yeah, the Foxconn company, that's what Trump was going to, remember Trump was going to bring Foxconn to Wisconsin? Never fucking happened. Anyways, let's, by the way, Foxconn is a Taiwanese company. It just has a factory in China. So let's see what these assholes are saying. By the way, I reserve the right to ditch out on this. It's 18 minutes long. I don't need to do the whole fucking thing. I'm not going to jump around, though. But I will say this. A lot of times this asshole ends his videos with selling gold or like crypto or some shit like that. So I'm not going to get baited into what's effectively a long, like a multi-level marketing pitch.
Now, on all of those protests in China over the past few days, they appear to be working. Actually, surprisingly, although the Western media won't tell you that, according
I officially call myself Western media, and they're working. Although I will say that one of the reasons you're not seeing more about it is because China will use American press and anything said by American government officials to say, they're behind it. It's the same thing that's happening in Iran. So if we pipe up to some degree, they'll say, aha, they started this. They're on the side of those folks. Therefore, we have a reason to crack down.
to our sources in China, the government is listening and easing more and more restrictions.
Wait a minute. Through our sources, is this fucking really serious?
This is in China.
Hold on.
Actually, surprisingly, although the Western media won't tell you that, according to our sources in China,
so they know some people in China, and according to those sources, the government is going to ease some things and it's going to make it a lot better. They won't have to rise up. They've been heard. They're not going to attack the protesters or arrest them, any of that shit. They're going to, they're just going to, allow them to go home, and they're going to ease this bullshit.
China, the government is listening and easing more and more restrictions.
Yeah, they're trying, guys. The CCP, they're in a giving mood.
This hour, thanks to those protests. Now, you won't really find any mention of this in the Western media at all.
It's almost as if they're super disappointed. They had a grand old time on Monday presenting this downfall of the Chinese government.
Right.
Oh my
Uh-huh.
God, what does it mean, right? And then on Tuesday, when the government actually responded to protests in a reasonable way, the mainstream media seems utterly disinterested in that. They're like,
first of all, have you been hanging out with Diamond? Because you sound like you have COVID. This is fucked up. I hope his wife doesn't have COVID. I don't know the woman, but I don't wish that on anybody. Secondly, you mean the mainstream media isn't buying their bullshit?
our fun's over. Thanks for that.
You mean in that country, protests actually work?
Yeah.
Wow. I mean, there's all those people, those thousands of people that go, march on Washington all the time. And
it has a purpose.
And nothing ever
and an
changes.
Outcome.
Yes, nothing ever changes. You mean like the electoral count, fucko?
Washington.
By the way, the seeds of the law to codify Roe v. Wade were absolutely put in the Women's March initially. It will take some time, but absolutely they have changed. I mean, you can look at the George Floyd protests and the changes made in police departments across the country as far as police officers who shoot people, or cross the line are being indicted now. That's a good thing.
So according to secondary reports out of China earlier this morning.
Oh, secondary reports. Are these from your sources?
Own primary sources inside of China, controls are expected to be relaxed.
Oh, that's nice. So you guys, go home. Go home, protesters. They're expected to be relaxed. They're not, but they're expected to be.
And earlier this morning, China's state council officials weren't suddenly wearing masks during their meeting. Now, up until now, they've always worn masks. Take a look at your screen at this meeting. So all of them removed masks. And
press conference of the Joint Prevention and Control Mechanism of the State Council.
Look what these protests have brought. Now, look at the lower left-hand part of your screen. Even the translator in the lower left part of your screen, not a translator,
sign language interpreter.
Sign interpreter.
Sign interpreter, yeah. She was always wearing a mask. So now, according to the Global Times, which is state-run media, by the way, China's going to speed up its vaccination program. So this is coming.
By the way, hold on. Wait, somebody was saying, I'll go join your wants communism, shut down freedom of speech, and is blatantly dumb. Okay, Karen, you're in the wrong place. Biden doesn't want communism. Neither do we. I doubt you even know what it is. It is it is not a competitor economic system for capitalism. It is meant to come after capitalism, which capitalism has to die for that to happen, and it's not going to die. Nobody wants it to. Biden is not the extreme left, whatever you fucking think he is. And I know you love Trump, so just for the sake of it, let's see. What's a good Trump quote for her?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
That's a good one. How about how smart is Trump?
We're honored to have with us today our amazing Vice President, Mike Pence, and his wonderful wife, Karen.
What about why do you think he lost Michigan?
Michigan gave us Motown, gave us the Mustang.
And internationally, he's spot on.
A lot of very bad things are happening in Nicaragua.
Yes, very bad things are happening in Nicaragua. And of course, the important thing he wants you to know is that Democrats apparently want free health care for what?
Free health care for illegal. Look.
Yeah. And of course, most of you think that Winston Churchill is too fat to climb stairs, but apparently not.
Winston Churchill stood on the rooftops in London, very calm, making speeches. Winston Churchill.
Just genius on all fronts. And of course, not only does he know Europe, does he know history, he knows America.
When they gaze upon Yosemite.
I mean, I feel my heart just rising in my chest, don't you? But the important thing, at least he's up on what China does with technology.
They're de-engineering.
Let's see. And of course, he knows sports.
Action replays in magnified fashion.
Maybe, Karen, maybe tell us what the fuck that meant.
Action replays in magnified fashion.
Do you know? Can you translate? Do you speak Maga?
Action replays in magnified fashion.
I don't read, obviously.
But we'll see. He's apparently running for president, so he's going to have to go to Iowa and practice those
For Iowa values.
Iowa values. Now, in all fairness,
For Iowa values.
every time he says Iowa, he poops his pants, and you can tell.
For Iowa values.
That's just a tiny little piece of poop just coming out when he.
For Iowa values.
It just leaps. You know what I mean? It's one of those words. It's like a laxative.
They don't like the gas.
I know, but they
For
get.
Iowa values.
That's right. It happens.
To me, Corona means Italy.
Verona is in Italy. Corona is a Mexican beer.
The Burmese executives. So this Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
Yeah, no one has ever told him to pronounce Burmisma. Burmisma. He means Burisma.
Burmese.
Yeah, that's right. Remember the company? What was the company? Maggots. You know. Come on, trolls. Let me know. What was the name of the company that Hunter Biden worked for?
Burmese.
That's not it. It's not Burmisma either. You have to listen to this one quietly, though.
Company that his son worked for. That's Burmese.
That's Burmisma. This is right. But then, of course, he did create Space Force, not since the Ass Force.
First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Ass Force.
That's right. Not since the Ass Force, which, by the way, I think if we're going to win a war, we're going to need the Ass Force. And if anybody could run the Ass Force, it would be Donald Trump. So...
Somebody like that can write good.
Yeah, exactly.
It's good to be the king.
I know. That's how I've always felt about it or whatever. And I also be careful if you ever come to a wildlife refuge to not come again.
Wildlife refuges. I mean, you look at this, you look at what we do with our wildlife.
Yeah, refuges, wildlife.
They're not allowed to be offensive, unfortunately.
All right. So, anyways, back to where we were. But please tell me how Biden can't complete a sentence and that he says stuff all the time that doesn't make any sense.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Do I remember the fart caught live? I did a whole video on it. I was live when it happened. It was horrifying. I still have scars.
Bags of soup.
I know. That was what.
Soup for my family.
That's right.
People coming over with bags of soup, big bags of soup.
Okay, so let's so yeah, there we go. Yeah, he actually said that. But hey, he's a man with problems.
Once it was reluctantly aroused. It was hard to get it aroused, and it is hard to get it aroused, but we got it aroused.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's always difficult. Anyways, let's get back to this. Butthole! All right, let's go. Now, here we go.
From the state in their own media for elderly people. This was one, of course, the biggest sticking points for lockdowns was the elderly population not getting access to vaccines. So now they're going to ramp up that process.
Oh, so he's saying China is going to ramp up the process to get elderly people vaccinated. Is that what he's talking about?
Speed up its vaccination program.
Oh, it's going to speed up. It's been almost 3 fucking years.
Which is state-run media, by the way. China's going to speed up its vaccination program. So this is coming from the state in their own
They're going to speed up the vaccination program.
Media for elderly people. This was one, of course, the biggest sticking points for lockdowns was the elderly population not getting access to vaccines. So now they're going to ramp up that process.
Oh, good. Okay. So all it took was people standing in the streets, like knocking down COVID barriers, throwing bicycle racks at cops in hazmat suits, and storming down an open highway towards a blockade of trucks to get them to speed up vaccinations of elderly people. What the fuck is going on in China? What is that place? Florida?
Which is crazy.
But they're not.
Yeah. Okay. So, by the way, this asshead is actually quoting the Global Times. He's quoting Chinese media.
In the same vaccines we do, correct? Like
They are not. And
No, theirs don't work. The Chinese vaccine doesn't work against Omicron. If you get Omicron in China, it's as bad as the wild type. It's as bad as Delta. They don't have herd immunity. They don't have vaccinations. They don't have any situation where the vaccine stops them from getting symptoms. But these assholes probably believe that China's had less than 5,000 COVID deaths. Get the fuck out of here.
the Dr. Fauci
By the way, when did David Cross join their show?
weekend took the opportunity
Come on. I'm fucking with you. Come on.
to kind of jab at them for that. Oh, that was a double entendre.
That was
right?
a great pun.
Jab,
he
poke.
took a jab that they did not import Western vaccines, instead use their own, and that's
Right. And they don't work.
why their program has been slower.
No, it's not the speed of it, fucko. It's the fact that their vaccines aren't functional. They're terrible.
He was like, well, we had some to sell, we weren't going to give it to you, but we had plenty on the market if you wanted to buy some, so this is your own fault. But interesting, because this no mask on public officials during meetings, these tweets about, okay, we need to just
This, by the way, this is, if you've ever seen fucking pro CCP tankies run interference, this is what it looks like. They've got a list of CCP related Twitter handles, and they're just running the like a list right now. They're just chopping it down, like whatever the CCP says through 3 different sources, pretending that they're not the same source.
because the elderly vaccination has been their sticking point, the reason why they continue to extend lockdowns in certain regions. So these are not
In certain regions? What do you mean certain regions? Shanghai and Beijing and Guangzhou and Shenzhen and Chengdu and Chongqing are not fucking little regions. They're the most populated cities in the fucking country and the nest of their entire economy. You fucking tool.
small symbolic moves to show the public, we hear you, we're going to take this step.
Oh, good. Yes. These are symbolic moves to tell the public, we hear you, we're going to take this step. And all it took, Jesus.
Right. And so Global Times reporting China will speed up the COVID-19 vaccination rate for people age over 80 and continue to increase the rate for people age 60 and 79. So, yeah, there you go. And this is all.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I mean, it's a tweet. Meanwhile, hold on. Hold on. Let me go to here. Go to this. Jesus Christ. Let's see. Meanwhile, 44 seconds ago, Chinese security forces are cranking down on protesters in Shanghai, Guangzhou, Beijing, Chengdu, and Xinjiang. Yeah, there you go. There they go. They're snatching people up. There's the dude with the pole. That's, by the way, this is the new Tiananmen dude. This guy with the steel reinforcement pole. Look at these people chucking these fucking racks at the cops who are beating people up, by the way. Hold on. Let me show you some of the video. I mean, but hey, what's the big deal? Shame they didn't. Here's a quick round. Okay, this is right wingers saying, but they sicked them on us, so it's the samey same. By the way, nobody was attacked during this shit. You didn't see anything like this in the United States. Can you imagine seeing a bunch of people in white hazmat suits at the end of a George Floyd protest? You out of your fucking mind? There's a bunch of people trying to it's the samey same. Yeah. Yeah, there we go. Protests in China are not rare. What is rare is multiple protests over the same issue, same time across the country. Protests below. Apparently in central Beijing's Lingma Qiao is astounding. It is. Look at this shit. This is fucking enormous what's going on. Meanwhile, everybody's like, we had to do that. This looks like January 6th. Yeah, except they weren't trying to install somebody as their dictator forever. They're actually yelling down with Xi Jinping, the guy who changed the rules so he could have 3 terms and then 4 terms and then whatever. Look at that shit. BBC reporter was beaten up. Let's see, hold on. And detained for, there he is. This is a BBC reporter who was detained by the police and beaten. He was kicked multiple times because he was filming the protests. Yeah, exactly. China in disarray. But guys, they're going to speed up vaccinating people over 80 because that's who's in the street. 80-year-olds. Jesus.
Coordinated.
Absolutely, it is. It's
good.
to show the Chinese people that, they are listening.
Yeah, we hear you. Okay. The Chinese government, I'm mildly shocked. I'm used to these guys shitting on America. And I'm also used to them, cradling Putin's balls. But this is the first time I've seen them go full Chinese tanky.
This is, yesterday we broke it down for you that.
Oh, thanks. It's just, have you thought about maybe.
Protests are a cultural way in China for Chinese people to have a conversation with their government.
No, they fucking aren't.
Whether right or wrong, it actually accomplishes certain things. So it's not for us Westerners to have the final say in its meaning.
But it's still amazing to watch.
How dare you, Westerners, look at this and see that people want freedom and say words like freedom. How do you fucking know?
One on Twitter in the West who's like, let me tell you what's going on in China.
Right.
All these Western Twitter accounts who've, have no idea actually.
他们不知道.
They
don't know
information from Western media sources on top of it. Today's stock market, this is not inexplicable. China's stock market booming because of this news. But again,
the Chinese stock market booming. Because that could be because of one of two reasons. One, because business is going gangbusters in China and it's never been better. Or it could be that the Chinese government controls the stock market and the economy and makes it look however the fuck they want it to look because they can devalue their currency. They own half the stocks so they can pretend they're worth something. You out of here? What kind of an asshole believes this shit?
Media won't show you this. They're not going to.
Yes, the media will not show you how great the Chinese stock market is going. Hold on, wait, 1 second. Sorry, I understand this asshole's a grifter who can't even live in his own country without getting arrested anymore because he. Hold on, Chinese stocks. Let's see what Bloomberg is saying. Let's see. This is showing Chinese says this is what they have when I look up Chinese stocks on Bloomberg. Goldman Sachs is still overweight in Chinese stocks. Yeah, they gotta trim back. They got a little bit extra around the middle. They got a muffin top of Chinese stocks. Chinese stocks fall as COVID resurgence complicates reopening. By the way, most cases of COVID happening in the country in China right now since the beginning of their lockdowns in 2020. Look at that. There you go. Chinese. This is old. October 11th. Chinese stocks set for resurrection after Party Congress. Yeah, that didn't turn out to be true at all. But all right. Meanwhile, back to these dickheads. Okay, huge. But you won't see this in the American media. The Western media is not going to tell you how amazing the Chinese stock. You should take this guy's investment advice. Huh? Let him tell you where to put your money. And he's saying, put it in China.
Talk about the Hong Kong Stock Exchange and how that's doing. Instead, political pundits and Western media organizations are total hypocrites on this story.
Ugh, hypocrites. The nerve. They're total hypocrites on this story.
Because when the Chinese people protest, the world is supposed to stand with the Chinese people to throw off the shackles of tyranny and tell Xi Jinping where to shove it. But of course, when those very same people in Canada, the United States, and Australia, and other places, well, in Canada, where they park their trucks in Ottawa to say, we don't want these vaccine.
Okay. Again, fuck you. You do not get to blockade roads with your goddamn truck. You can protest as a person, but you cannot crash gear across a fucking intersection and consider that an act of protest, fucko. It doesn't work that way. And so the truckers that were blockading roads are not the same as protesters by themselves with a fucking sheet of paper.
We don't want you telling us what to do with our bodies. Then suddenly, or people...
They're not telling you what you can do with your body. They're telling you where you can actually ship food and interact with people if you don't want to do that with your body. You can do whatever the fuck you want. You just can't be in a food delivery job at the time during a pandemic.
Australia, who are breaking out of internment camps, right?
France, people protesting Macron saying that the unvaccinated can stay home while the vaccinated enjoy public life.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. And then in Italy.
Totally. Yes. Him saying that and people protesting him saying that, totally the same as people being welded into their apartment buildings and left to burn alive. Fuck these people. Jesus.
Too. People were down with the Italian government over crazy lockdowns and mandates.
They were hit worse than any European country. They had more deaths than us. They've got an older population, you fucking tool. This is back. You're bitching about a time before there were even vaccines available.
Schools, and when it was like 100 degrees, still have your kids wear masks, and there was protests, right? When those people protest, then they are, of course, radical right-wingers, they're white supremacists, they're people to be vilified.
Extremists, anti-science, all of the things.
So
Right, they were called names, which is not the same as being welded into your apartment building to burn alive. Fuck these, like, for God's sakes, people. Yeah, don't forget to hit a like if you enjoyed this kind of programming. I'm the only dude who breaks this shit down all the way through like this. Oh, God. Man, these assholes are aggravating.
Tracy, I love this take on Twitter today. He said, there is no dispute that China's COVID policies are unusually stringent. But I seem to recall Australia had pretty stringent COVID policies at one point, and anyone who protested was instantly labeled a far-right menace rather than brave dissidents standing up for freedom.
That's because of there's an important part of that phrase. At one point. At one point. Before vaccinations were available, before herd immunity had reached a cresting point in and amongst the society, at one point. The difference is in China, it's the whole fucking time. The lockdowns have been just as stringent and just as hard. They never go away, and they're extending zero COVID into next year. They just fucking announced it.
So which is it? You can't have it both ways.
Yes, you can, because the circumstances are different.
Either you like anti-COVID protesters or you don't.
Again, these aren't anti-COVID protesters. They're not protesting the disease itself. They are protesting genuine lockdowns, not, where are you going? Oh, hang out here for a week until the virus goes through you and then you can go back home. Nobody's pets were beaten to death in Australia. Nobody was in a COVID concentration camp. Even people who were quarantined for a short time got out in less than 7 days.
Of course, that's exactly what happened. Remember when Australia started rounding people up, putting them in COVID internment camps, and if you didn't get, vaccinated, you wanted to live your life, you couldn't. They were rounding you up. I don't recall hearing the Western media actually complain about this. In fact, if you talked about it like we did on this show,
man, yeah, fuck Australia and their draconian fucking Australianness.
Earlier this year, or last year even.
Yeah, whenever.
You were called, the comments were amazing to read because they were like, how can you spread this conspiracy theory? How you guys are, whatever, you guys are right-wing radicals. I'm like, well.
No, you're a thief and a dipshit. I wouldn't go right-wing radicals. I don't even know what these fuckers believe.
Well, we're not right-wing at all. I don't know where.
Yeah, it just happened to be on Fox and happened to have bilked people out of their life savings before fleeing the country. As you do, like a good progressive.
Got that from. We're not radical. We're just telling you what's actually happening in Australia.
Yeah, that's what's happening in Australia, or happened. It stopped happening. It was happening. It's not happening anymore. And it's currently still happening in China, but it's not going to happen. It's going to eventually stop happening because the Chinese government said so.
We were vilified for that.
And so was Djokovic for just trying to go there
to play
tennis, right?
He's
kicked out.
He's an extremist because he takes care of his body and he's healthy and he doesn't want you putting something in his body so he can go play tennis. Like, really?
Yeah, that's the same thing. A tennis player who wants to tour in a country that has rules about that stuff versus the actual people there. It's totally the same. A guy can't play tennis. Some people die of carbon monoxide poisoning because they're all trapped in a dorm room because they've all got COVID and they don't want to go down for testing because they'll be shipped off to a camp to die. And there's, Jesus.
What a crazy guy.
So here's Haley Hodgson. She was taken by Australian investigators, put into a COVID internment camp with.
And she's still alive?
Even having the virus. She was locked up for 14 days at a COVID camp that was built for 2,000 people. So they knew they wanted more people there. And she was on the Unheard show in Australia, and she had this to say, listen.
It's horrible. It's a horrible feeling. You feel like you're in prison. You feel like you've done something wrong. It's inhumane what they're doing. Like, you are...
Yeah, it's like that. It totally...
So small.
Small.
They just overpower you, and you're literally nothing. It's like, you do what we say, or you're in trouble. We'll lock you up for longer. Yeah, they were even threatening me that if I was to do this again, we will extend your time in here.
So...
Yeah, it's the same thing. She's out now. There are no, road barricades in Australia. Fucking hell.
Unbelievable. She lost her job, too, because of that.
Well, that's like saying if you do that again, like even if your symptoms go away, you're virus free or whatever, it doesn't matter because you were did something. It's basically going to become prison for you,
right? And it'll probably be on your permanent record, right? It'll be on your.
Well, apparently, she didn't have it. And again, play the whole fucking clip. Don't get me started, right?
And then COVID ID record, and your vaccine passport. Oh, she's one of those. It'll be like some sort of a badge that she'll have to show on her smartphone. Oh, you were a dissident. And we know, by the way, that these governments are watching people like her, right? They have a database of these people.
Yes.
We know that they've been actively tracking them in the United
By the way, I think it's called OnlyFans.
States and Canada and other places. Like you're a rabble rouser. Like you're the type of.
Yes, it's Operation Rebel Rouser, which is really hard to say with an Australian accent. Rebel Rouser. You could choke to death. Even saying it should be a crime. I think being a rebel rouser should be illegal because you're making people say rebel rouser and they could die.
Person that we want to watch if we're the intelligence state in these countries.
She's great. Again, that's from fucking a year and a half ago before there were vaccines readily available in the country.
So, shut up, little girl. Take your vaccine, shut up. And, oh, by the way, so when she got put into this COVID camp, she revealed that she was told to take Valium. They forced pharmaceuticals on her, telling her, hey, take this Valium because you're in distress.
And, did she take it?
And so you get basically turned into like a sedated drone. Like
that sounds kind of fun, though. Like 2 week.
Is that what Valium does to you?
They'll sit with some Valium. The only thing is that Valium constipates you. So that.
Look at the look he shot her when she said that. He's just about to drink coffee from his This Is the Way mug.
Not fun, but otherwise. Okay.
Sounds like she's speaking from experience.
I wouldn't know.
Well, who's watching my kids?
Did you have a Valium addiction we should know about?
No, but I'm just saying.
Not an addiction.
After, I was sick for a couple days, stayed in my room, didn't speak to anybody. That's still kind of great.
So next I'll just give you a box of Valium.
I don't want any because, like I said, it constipates you.
Well, I'm glad to know that. I'm glad. Thank you for that medical.
It's this kind of banter that we like, and it shows their closeness. Look at her face looking at him right now. He's supposed to play along with this, and he's just being a dick, and she's getting livid.
Oh, you're welcome.
Natalie's medical update.
This is a known fact.
What medication constipates you?
Just take Valium with a bunch of coffee. You'll be fine.
Right.
I don't know. That doesn't sound relaxing at all.
Welcome to Natalie's Constipation Corner. This is what constipates you.
I can have my own COVID.
All right, I'm out. This is where they go from Australia is the same as China because some girl made a video that she was put in a COVID concentration camp and they force-fed her Valium. She's still fucking asleep. She's not even there. She died. She didn't die. She's still there. Now, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. I think that shows taste and breeding on your part. Don't forget, patreon.com/Hal Sparks. You can become a Patreon and support the show. Also, like and subscribe. There's also these things. There's Venmo and there's Cash App. Venmo and Cash App. If you use those things, it's a great way to support the show. You just take a picture of that with your phone, and whichever one you use, you can go, thanks for the laughs. Here's $1. It's a thought. So, the holidays are coming up. Buy me a candy cane. There you go. So, yeah, they're a party. Now, there are, let's see, how do we go straight? I don't even know which one to go. Oh, let me go to this one next. A lot of people are trying to help Trump explain away his dinner with my dinner with Kanye. And Nick Fuentes and Milo get on top of us. And all three of those guys were at this dinner, and Trump had no idea. No idea. Who the fuck are these guys? I don't know. Hold on one second. Maybe I can bring up. Whoops. Let's see. There we go. Home here. Truth Session. There we go. trying to see if Jack Smith, his thing, special cut Jack Smith, Mail Taylor Green. He's just retruthing shit. Yeah. So he's just basically the only problem around acknowledged extraordinary level of corruption in the United States. Okay, blah, blah, blah. He's on Truth Social just screaming his ass off about, remember, you can never have free and fair elections. The mail-in ballots never, 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 no, won't and can't happen, never. This is terrible. Wait, why is that? Diabetes is not from sweets. Oh, God. Meet the main enemy of diabetes. Cranberry sauce? Pegging with cranberries. All right, here we go. How Trump prevailed over Biden in security debates over Chinese social app. Which he totally banned he didn't? Oh. Our government is weaponized and corrupt. Yeah. So anyways, he's just mostly reposting stuff. Arizona stole my blah, 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 blah. I was trying to see if he had anything about, there it is. My friend Greg Kelly, who hosts an amazing show on Newsmax, has just written a very important book, Justice for All, How the Left is Wrong About Law Enforcement. I just saw an early copy. Greg explains how Obama undermined police in America. And can you imagine a happier man than Greg Kelly? And the only thing that makes him upset is that Kanye had dinner with Trump and Greg wasn't invited. I mean, he's never invited. He's one of Trump's closest friends, but fuck off. You're not allowed at Mar-a-Lago, apparently. The Apple Store dropped Twitter today. Very exciting. You'd have dinner with Kanye and Trump? I kind of would too, but I would be I think they would both lead the table. I think I could walk the room. I think Milo Yiannopoulos would be the hardest one to walk from the table because he likes being a gadfly and, sticking to his guns. But I could get everybody else at that table to fuck off. And Milo might stay just because I'm adorable. All right, here we go.
Trump and Kanye. What is it, day 5, 6?
Yes, it's I'm still grinding my teeth at night about it. All right, how about the rest of you guys?
This story, the fake news, they keep driving it. Oh boy,
You're doing the story, fucko.
Hypocrisy is so rich.
Is it? The hypocrisy. Why? Because they've all had dinner with Kanye?
How can they say that this president, the most pro-Israel, Jewish-friendly president in the history of this country, has some explaining to do? Now,
how can they say he's got some explaining to? Because he's been saying he's the most pro-Israel and Jewish-friendly president in American history of Judaism, and yet at the same time having fucking dinner with Kanye West after he said he was going to go, and I quote, DEFCON 5 on Jews, and Nick Fuentes, who is a hardcore anti-Semite.
I don't like Kanye West. I wouldn't recognize a Kanye West song if I heard it.
I don't believe you.
He tweeted something vile.
By the way, what he means is, I don't like black music. That's...
And it was a tweet.
Yeah. It's a vile tweet. He tweeted something vile, but it was a tweet, and it was vile. What are you going to do? It happened to anybody. Anybody could accidentally, totally sober, drunk tweet a threat against all Jews. You know what I mean? I blame autofill.
And he's a deranged young man. And it looks to me like President Trump was trying to help him.
Yeah, that's what it was. You know what? You need help. The only kind of help that you need is the finest piece of chocolate cake ever. Once Kim Jong-un had a slice of this cake, he didn't fire a missile for 2.5 years. Mainly because he was working on the nuclear tip part and stuff, and they didn't really, the missile part already works. They just need to work on the payload. I found that out later. But the important thing is chocolate cake.
Lunch. They had lunch, okay?
Yeah, they had lunch after he threatened death upon Jews.
And now it's over.
Yeah, the lunch is over. Greg's never had lunch. Greg, have you thought about maybe tweeting something vile? Oh, you do all the time. It's just not enough. I guess after a while, it's like drugs. You got to have a bigger dose or it doesn't get you high anymore.
But the hypocrisy, it is rich. Isn't that right, Mitch? Mitch McConnell. Oh, boy. He really wants to take President Trump out. He's been trying that for a long time. Isn't that right, Mitch?
There is no room in the Republican Party for anti-Semitism or white supremacy.
There's a little room. This is like, I mean, it could squeak by in a crowd. I wouldn't say that they could go, walking around arms extended like a Nicolas Cage character, but I'm pretty sure they could go, pardon me, excuse me, like white supremacy and anti-Semitism go, pardon me, excuse me, thank you, excuse me. They'd have to be a little polite to get across the room, but they could get there.
Anyone meeting with people advocating that point of view, in my judgment, are highly unlikely to ever be elected president of the United States.
You know, that puts you in a very strange spot, Mitch McConnell.
Dun, dun, dun!
Along with a heck of a lot of other people in Washington, D.C. of a certain age. White supremacist Senator, the late Strom Thurmond, was friends with all of you guys, especially Joe Biden. Now, these guys didn't have lunch once. They had a blossoming, beautiful friendship. Joe Biden was invited to speak at Strom Thurmond's funeral, who I believe said, did he say segregation now and forever, right?
Yeah, and then he changed his mind.
Was a devout segregationist.
Well, and then he disavowed it at one point.
But Joe Biden couldn't pass up the chance to tell a few jokes at a funeral.
Strom Thurmond was also a brave man who, in the end, made his choice and moved to the good side. We became good friends.
After he moved to the good side.
I'm not sure exactly why or how it happened, Nancy, but you know we did. And Fritz could never figure it out, neither could I.
Not that funny, really.
Jesus Christ. And Greg knows humor. It's one of my favorite late night shows on Newsmax, where Greg breaks down jokes.
Strom Thurmond. And not only Joe Biden, but Mitch McConnell. Yes, Mitch, back in the 90s.
Yeah, they were Republicans. Also, he does realize in his own fucking clip, he included the part where Biden was like, this dude was fucked up and kind of awful. And then he came around. Also had a black granddaughter. just saying, that played a part, it would seem, in that turn later in life. But you can't play the part where he goes, he came over to the good side and then we became friends. I don't know how it happened. That's crazy. Life's nutty. Meanwhile, and then he's going to go with Mitch McConnell. By the way, I'm not going to interrupt with him attacking Mitch McConnell. Knock yourself like out. Yeah.
Back when, Strom wasn't cured of everything. Oh, no, especially when it came to Jewish people. Anyway, Mitch McConnell just let his admiration for this white supremacist bigot sing.
Bang.
I literally cannot remember life without Strom Thurmond. I remember...
Well, that's because he's fucking old is what he means.
Excitement. Having been a son of the Deep South, when Senator Thurmond decided to become a Republican.
Isn't that sweet? Isn't that cute?
You mean when the Dixiecrats all switched over to becoming Republicans? Uh-huh. Don't show that clip to Dinesh D'Souza. He still thinks that Democrats were the segregationist party and still are.
What does it mean? Who cares? I think Mitch McConnell is a huge hypocrite, and he obviously has a deep personal grudge against Donald Trump. All this fake outrage, selective. I notice that anti-Semitism seems to be tolerated when it comes from the left.
All right.
When it comes from the left.
Where's he going next? Ilhan Omar?
It's A-OK. It's not to be remarked upon. It's to be spread.
And I'm here to separate the good Jews from the satanic.
Farrakhan is a known anti-Semite. Yeah, but Kanye just met with him. He quoted him on Tim Pool.
Jews. Yes, yes, yes! So I am dangerous. Yes, sir. Not to you. Unless you feel that Father Pfleger's invitation to me may hurt Saint Sabina. They don't have the power to hurt Saint Sabina if you don't give them that power.
It's ugly, it's hate, and
it's black. And that's the part that Greg Kelly hates the most.
He's been that way for decades, many, many decades. You can't pretend you didn't know about Louis Farrakhan.
I get you. That's definitely true. I cannot.
Barack Obama can't pretend that he didn't know about Louis Farrakhan. When he met with him at least once in 2005, he was a sitting United States senator, and at that time, actually, technically, the next president of the United States.
Technically, yes, because it was prophesied, and so therefore it was going to happen. Also, there's no fucking way you're in Chicago politics if you haven't run into Farrakhan at a big dinner.
And there was no escaping Farrakhan's reputation, but there they are, chummy as anything. Hey, Mitch, why not?
Hold on. Chummy as anything. Give me 1 second. Let me see. I think I have a bunch of. Let's see. Let's see. Sorry. Chummy as anything. You were saying something about there they are. Chummy as anything. Just chummy. This is the. So that this picture. Hold on. That picture. You want to put that up against chummy as anything? Huh, chummy? You want to go full fucking chummy? How about that? How chummy is this? With your wife rubbing up against the dude. Mm-hmm. You're just gonna, yeah. Just, I don't really know him. I mean, we used to party, but, oh, there's Ghislaine Maxwell. That's chummy as anything. Sitting next to each other at a fashion show. Just comfortable. Not a political event. Not a glad-handing thing. Not somebody working a line so they can get a picture with somebody famous or somebody powerful so they can hang it in their shop or show people they have access. No. Just all these seats, and these are the two. Just kind of random. Is that how that works? Oh, yeah. Wait a minute. Trump doesn't even know Prince Andrew. How is that even possible? Chummy as anything. Okay.
Farrakhan's reputation, but there they are, chummy as anything. Hey, Mitch, why don't you condemn this? Mitch, I think this is, where were you? In 2005, where were you? Because I hear from Barack Obama's father, and Joe Biden actually told me that silence is complicity. So how about that? Let's get real here, all right?
Yeah, let's get real. Come on. Get real. Get funky. Get live. Come on now. We need somebody who will speak the truth.
Michigan gave us Motown.
That's not what I meant. God damn it.
Farrakhan is a decades-long bigot. Kanye West, believe it or not, he's still like the #1 singer in the world.
Crazy. I mean, let's be abundantly clear. If Farrakhan could sing, we wouldn't give a shit. That's the Greg Kelly standard.
A couple of
Trump
weirdo
met
tweets,
with him.
Very bad.
Trump met with him because he's famous, okay? Now, he's a famous anti-Semite now, but famous is the first word in that. He's an anti-Semite who's famous. He's now a famous anti-Semite. So fame is the key to the languagisting.
Very vile. I think he needs help. And President Trump actually tried to help him.
That's right. He's vile, and he needs help getting his vile message out there. And so Trump tried to help him.
That's over. But this was lunch, not a decades-long association like Mitch McConnell and Joe Biden had with a known bigoted white supremacist.
Yeah, tell him, Greg. That's right. Look, the key is if you had a decades-long relationship with somebody, that's when you can really say that the person is like on board with everything the person does. If for, oh dear. That's weird. So the key is ongoing relationship, and I would imagine it's worse if, somebody says something awful. It's one thing. I don't know that. Let's just say I don't think Kanye West, that I'm aware of, has sex trafficked any underage Jews at this point. Just in case we're splitting hairs and we're comparing our apples to apples.
All right, on to something slightly more pleasant. Christmas. Oh, yeah, Christmas is actually awesome.
It is. It's so awesome. Thank you for saying that. You know what I mean? We haven't been able to even say Christmas is awesome in all this time. It's just fucking terrible, isn't it?
Hey, the White House actually looks great. They did a good job there.
And you didn't like Melania's murder trees? You didn't like the blood lava? It's a very shining Christmas?
And they put out some stockings for the kids, the Biden children, the Biden grandchildren. I have no problem with that.
Oh, good. I'm glad. Okay, somebody let the White House know that Greg doesn't have a problem with that, okay? So they can breathe easy. It's the holidays. They should relax.
I just noticed that there are not enough stockings for all the grandkids. Yes, we went through it. And one Biden grandchild, the grandchild of the President of the United States, did not get a stocking. I'm talking about a little girl named Navy. There she is with her mom in Arkansas. She was born to her mother in Arkansas. And guess who her father is? Yes, Hunter Biden. This has been...
Oh, I see. This is an illegitimate child story.
Established in court, paternity tests. Hunter Biden is he's a bit of a deadbeat dad, quite frankly. He doesn't want to pay child support. He's always quibbling. He wants to pay less. But this child exists. And it's kind of amazing that Joe Biden, such a family man, maybe he should step up and take care of this grandkid. Instead, he just brags about all the grandkids he has.
I see. So he should step in between his son and whoever his son has a child with and insist upon a relationship with it, whether the mother wants it or not, before they've worked it out as the child is a little kid. Okay, great. That's a great idea.
But he does.
But, he does smoke in bed and in the tub. So, evil.
Leave this little girl out.
How many of you have been unable to hug your grandkids in the last 7 months?
Yeah, October 13th, 2020.
I got 6 of them.
No, he's got one more. One that he does not acknowledge. Isn't that sad? Well, we acknowledge you.
We don't have a relationship with it. And again, at some point he probably will, dummy.
Navy Biden is her name.
Dude, you can't even find a picture of the woman's face with the kid.
Navy, and I hope everything works out. You should, imagine that the granddaughter of a president has to go to court for child support. That's really bad.
Really? That's where you're going to go?
Hey, coming up, every institution in America is going woke.
By the way, that was his Christmas message.
For a long time, law enforcement seemed to be safe from this crazy woke movement.
Uh-oh.
Not anymore. We'll be right back.
Oh, thank you. Just leave me with that. I'm afraid that, law enforcement will, not be racist or something. Dear God, help us all. You're watching House Parks Mega Worldwide. And Merry Christmas to everyone, including little Navy, whatever her last name is. And I'm sure no conversations have been held about how much or little attention this woman wants with her child during this thing. It was just an oversight, and they just don't even talk about it. Right? That's how it works? Is that how? All right. How are we doing on time? We're good. We're 4:26. Excellent. Now, can I go to this one? Yesterday, we saw Gorka. And there's a bunch of people trying to cover for the Kanye story. I believe that's what this is about. The truth. This is the truth about it. That's what we don't know. You and I don't know. I don't know. Do you know? We don't know. We don't know. What in the world? Hold on, I gotta shrink this down. I thought I knew the truth. You thought you knew the truth. Do you know the truth? What's the truth? I mean, is there a truth? Can we even think about it at this point? This is the truth about the dinner that
advisor for the Trump administration, host of America First.
Oh, it's on Eric Bolling's show. Shit, I thought this was on Gold
Advisor
show.
For the Trump administration, host of America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka, that man himself, Dr.
There he is. That's wonderful. And Eric Bolling, the man who gets marzipan filler.
Seb, a lot going on here, a lot to unpack. So tell me what your thoughts are on good.
No, don't tell us your fucking thoughts are. What's the truth? Tell us the truth about it.
To invite Kanye. Good idea to invite Kanye with +1 or 2. How do we work this out?
Yeah, how do you invite him?
Well, look, 2 responses, Eric.
Yes,
Number 1, I trust what the president said.
Yes, he's a former president. He's got a security detail, a large staff. And how was he supposed to know that he was going to have dinner with one anti-Semite and decided to have accidentally had dinner with 2 and a wannabe pedophile? It could happen to anyone, good Lord. And is it loud? Sorry, I'll dial it down a little. Here we go.
A club. He was having dinner by himself, and then Kanye West, who he knows from what he did very bravely during the Trump administration as a well-known black American, came to the White House, sat at the Resolute desk, put on a red MAGA hat. You know, he
talked like a fucking lunatic.
He had to take all the slings and arrows for supporting President Trump as a black American. So he recognized him. He allowed him to come.
Yes. Look, if you like Trump, and you're famous, that's enough for him to just let you do whatever the fuck you want. And if you want to bring Goebbels with you to dinner, as long as you keep blowing smoke up his ass, he doesn't care.
Table with an entourage that he knows nothing about. This.
Yes. Why would he?
Very peculiar individual.
Yeah. I mean, look, just because he asked about Ghislaine Maxwell and was concerned he just wants her to be safe because of what happened to her boyfriend in jail. I have no idea what happened, but something. He's just a concerned kind of a dude.
Milo Yiannopoulos and this absolute scum of the earth, Nick Fuentes, who I've had run-ins myself.
Ouch.
A Holocaust-denying psycho.
Yes, who had a 2-hour meal with Donald Trump, and Trump has not disavowed anything Fuentes said or implied or added to the conversation the entire time, or anything that Nick Fuentes has said or implied on his own broadcasts. He just said, I don't know the dude. Motherfucker, you said you had dinner with him for 2 hours. What do you think now that you know? You fucking know now, don't you? Jesus Christ.
And you know what he's like, Eric? He's a very hospitable man.
Yeah. Anti-Semites, guys who think that relationships between gay men and minor children are part of the growth process. Just no staff.
Allow them to come to his table. It wasn't an invitation. He didn't.
Yeah, it was. They arranged the dinner, fucko.
Who these strap hangers were. So, number 1, it went down like that. I'm sure that's how it went down at the president.
Uh-huh. And obviously, you can see that Nick Fuentes and Trump are not aligned on, oh, shit.
And then secondly, to quote a good friend of mine, Julie Kelly, who tweeted this out, I think yesterday.
America First. Like, is there a picture of Fuentes without some Trump merch around?
A dinner? Who the hell cares? Really, if you're a conservative and you're tweeting or commenting about the president's dinner at Mar-a-Lago or who glommed onto his dinner table, how about the fact we have political prisoners just a couple of miles from my studio here in D.C.? Let's talk about 110,000 fentanyl deaths in the last year. Let's talk about 2 million illegals that we know of. Let's talk about war in...
First of all, there weren't 110,000 fentanyl deaths in the last year. There were 110,000 from 2020 into 2021. It's the first time that number got hit. And he's now just stacking on the deaths since then as if it's in the same fucking year. The majority of those deaths happened when Trump was president. The rest of them happened after Biden became president, before he could get any policies in. It took him 6 weeks to get up and running, like you do, because Trump literally was trying to hamstring transition in every possible sense.
Let's talk about 9% inflation. Really, dinner at Mar-a-Lago. Let's get some perspective,
Yeah, come on, my dude.
Conservatives.
Yeah, no.
That'll do it. Yeah, settle back in, dude. Yeah, he means fentanyl. He means opioid deaths, but like fentanyl deaths. I think he's just glomming them all together, like all forms. Oxycodone, Oxycontin, any kind of overdose, any opiate, heroin, and fentanyl, and, people taking crack-em and getting hit by a car.
And I agree with you, Seb. But again, the man just announced he wants to run for president. I don't know. Listen. You and I have done. We've been there. We've been to Mar-a-Lago. We've been to when he was president. We've been to Mar-a-Lago. We've met with him, and there's a lot of vetting that goes on. I just wonder who
there is.
Someone must have dropped the ball to allowing this.
Wait a minute. Here's what happened. Eric Bolling and Sebastian Gorka worked for Trump. Eric Bolling couldn't be more of a Trump kiss ass, and both of them had to jump through more hoops to sit at Trump's table and talk to him than Nick fucking Fuentes. That's what's happened. There's an element of jealousy in this.
His character to get in somehow, sneak in the back door.
I will add this concern, and you were there with me just over a week ago. I was there.
We were together
for election night. Then we went back for the announcement. We were at Mar-a-Lago. I saw President Trump. I chatted with him.
And there were only maybe a dozen or so anti-Semites around. Very small number. I mean, you're gonna have some, aren't you, Gorka?
I am concerned of one thing.
Okay, one thing concerns Sebastian Gorka. Here it is. The one thing. What is it?
This is a man who received more votes than any other incumbent president in U.S. history.
And still lost.
He's just declared that he's going to run again. He has a good shot of not only being the nominee, which I think he will be, of actually winning the next election.
No.
Make sure it's
all right, get to the point that bothers you.
Election. As a result, he needs a very serious team, and he needs...
Gorka, don't you understand? He knows the best people. And apparently, it doesn't involve you. Apparently, his idea of what the best people, Gorka, are people who would allow someone like... He had good people before, and those good people kicked out Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood and Rudy Giuliani and wouldn't let him come around. And so he got better people. He got the best people, Gorka. And those people are allowing Kanye West, Milo Yiannopoulos, and Nick fucking the blacks and the Jews are in it together, Fuentes, to sit at the table at Mar-a-Lago. Gorka.
Now, and one thing that I think is missing is he doesn't...
His brain cells, functioning synapses.
Chief of Staff. I want there to be a, James Baker level, a kind of Newt Gingrich level, serious individual who's right there next to the president, making...
running interference, making sure he doesn't do stupid shit, which when he's left to his own devices, he feels the need to do. What the fuck?
Stuff like this doesn't happen, giving him good advice.
Because left to his own devices, the motherfucker will have dinner with 2 anti-Semites and a wannabe pedophile. The fuck is wrong with you? It's not exactly a sales pitch.
The person who gets DC, who gets strategic communications.
And gets the basics of not letting a well-known anti-Semite and racist just have a random lunch with a guy who just announced.
Who is it, Eric? I don't see that person right now.
What? Wait a minute. No, you don't get to farm this level of judgment out to another person. You know where that person should be? In your fucking ass. That you're like, oh, wait a minute, that's Nick Fuentes. Bye, Kanye. Fucking call my people. I'm not sitting here. See ya. No. Enjoy your lunch, gentlemen. I'm out of here. That's what you need. You don't need a fucking James Baker to go, it would be advisable at this point, since you've just announced, to not meet with him. I mean, if you're going to meet with him, maybe, can we move this to the private dining area? Shut the fuck up.
I don't either, and I've known them. I know a lot of people who are in the Trump orbit right now, and some of them are very young. And they're not, it's not that they're incapable of stopping something. They just don't have the experience to know.
They don't have the experience. They know who Nick fucking Fuentes is. The younger they are, the more they know who he is.
Vet every single human being he's going to sit down with, because a story gets out like this, like it did, and you're handing the other side
a reasonable criticism of his judgment, character, and behavior. That's what I was thinking.
You know, the high ground here, and you don't want to be doing that at this stage of the game.
Yeah, hand them the high ground later when it's too late.
What, Seb?
Yeah, no, I completely concur with you. I have one issue that I talk about every day on my radio show.
America first. Maga. Trump, the sun shines out of his ass. He's orange for a reason.
The one that bothers me the most. I don't care what your pet rock is, whether it's the border, the economy, the Second Amendment, the First Amendment. It doesn't matter one whit. It is absolutely irrelevant unless we build the bench. Right now, President Trump needs to build the bench.
That's right. That's what he always talks about. I have never heard him talk about this.
To have serious individuals credentialed, not credentialed, I don't care.
Yeah, elites. Just fucking say it. People who know what the fuck they're doing. Stop it. You can't shit on people, you know, for their education and their status and their, you know, the fact that they've been reelected multiple fucking times for that qualification alone being considered a negative. And then go, what we need is, you know what we really need is a Mitch McConnell. Gorka.
Credentials, serious individuals who are MAGA and America first.
Yeah, there's no such fucking thing. There is no such thing as a MAGA America first person who is serious. They're all inserious people. It by their fucking nature.
Who can help him be ready to actually run the country day one. So, Mr. President,
he's been president already. What do you mean day one, motherfucker? It's day 401. Yeah, build the swamp. Exactly, Dwayne. Build that swamp. He needs more swamp creatures around him. He just doesn't know how to swamp right. What the shit?
Listening, you need somebody to build that bench for you.
Yeah, build that fucking bench. Translation, swamp boat.
Well, he does. He says he listened. I saw him the other day when I saw you, Sebastian. He says he watches the show, and hopefully he does. And look, there's plenty.
Yeah, call him. Don't do a fucking... All right. I mean, there's Audience of One shows that they do with Trump all the fucking time.
There are plenty of people out here who really want to have his six, so to speak.
That's right. I think that's what they get. No question.
The one right now. But you're right, Sebastian. He needs some good, strong MAGA, America First people surrounding him. And
he needs a hot MAGA injection. Magma. He needs... Yes, he's been president once already. And after being president, and while he's trying, allegedly, to run a second time, he still doesn't have the fucking sense to vet who he sits down with. And why the shit should anybody elect him to office ever again? Why are they treating him like he's the newbie? Why don't you just come out and just say he fucking learns nothing? That he's an incurious asshole who's so full of himself that nobody can teach him anything. Because these two assholes this is basically, they're trying to do a fucking intervention for him. What the shit?
Sebastian Gorka, always good to have you. Thanks for joining us tonight.
God bless. Thanks, Eric.
God bless. Thank you. Gorka. Out. Build the bench. I always say it. I've said it before. I've always said it.
Stop it!
Stop that. Stop that. Gorka. Sorry, I'm snacking because I have a show later. And at 5 o'clock, I'm not going to be able to eat till after showtime. All right. Now, I've got time. All right. You're watching House Sparks Megaworldwide. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. As Joe Biden would say, thank you, thank you, thank you. Not as Donald Trump would say, which is, I want to thank you. I'm not actually doing it. I'm just pointing out the fact that I'm the kind of guy who wants to thank a fuck up like you. That's That's a Trump thank you. I prefer Biden thank yous, which are thank you, thank you, thank you. Genuine and repeated. Like you actually fucking mean it. I know, it's a crazy thought, but it's nutty. So, tell me something good. Wow, wow. Tell me that you like it, yeah. All right, now, what do I have time for in this one? Okay, we get rid of this one. Get rid of that one. Got rid of Greg Kelly. We did Greg Kelly. Okay, there's a couple of things. Hold on, I have to blow this one up. I don't know why this is so small. And yeah, this is relatively short, but this is one of the things Trump continues to harp on is the idea that the Afghanistan withdrawal was the most embarrassing moment in American history. Now, obviously, from a man who says that AIDS was his Vietnam because he was just trying to get laid during those years and stuff. Obviously, taking anything seriously on a world scale that he says is fucking absurd. But this is Margo, the small film crew unannounced. Yes, it does. Roy Batty. By the way, I know that you've seen things we would never believe. So, all right, now this is not Kristi Noem. This is shitty editing at Fox because they read this and then they move on to the next clip. And this is at the beginning because why bother? I don't know why these folks can't put their graphics together. It's just lazy. All right.
President Biden's own...
They could go, because I think the word president happens. I don't know why they don't extend the graphics over top of it for a second, which you totally could do.
Department of Defense calling his botched withdrawal from Afghanistan a propaganda gift to China. Quote.
Okay, so the DOD, look at this, Biden's propaganda gift to China. So this is it. Is this it, maggots? Is this what... that allegedly China gave Biden $1.5 billion, well, 10% of whatever the investment win would be. If it lost money, gets nothing. But 10% of 10% of whatever, 3%. And they paid all that money so that he would, leave Afghanistan 3 months after, Trump had set the date because Trump did no prep whatsoever as fast as we could so that more people wouldn't be killed. And this was it. This is all that money that China allegedly gave to Hunter Biden and the big guy and all that shit. And what was the result? A propaganda win.
The People's Republic of China employed multiple diplomatic tools in an attempt to erode U.S. and partner influence, highlighting the U.S. withdrawal from Afghanistan.
Is it just me, or does that ... stick out to anybody else? If I may, let's see. DOD report on national security China. Let's just do something related. 2022 on the People's Republic of China. Let's see. Read the full report here. Okay. How many pages is this? Now, they don't reference... okay, here we go. 1 second. Preface 1, Executive Summary, Chapter 1, Understanding China's Strategies, Forces, Capabilities, Project, and PLA's Growing Global Presence, Resources, Technology, Measure, PRC, Defense Contracts, Exchange of Views, and Strategic Stability. Views of information dominance, PLA's expanded military. I'm going to go with, what do you think? 160, special topic, PRC views of information dominance. Well, let's see. Hold on 1 second. Let me see it. This says Tuesday. Doesn't say what page. No reference whatsoever. But they've... Hold on. Maybe I can do this. Is there a... Can I search in here? Hold on. Nope. Okay. Let's go to 160. I'm going to try this. Okay, there's a map and some other stuff. Intelligence warfare. Okay, here we go. Hold on. cyberspace warfare, electronic warfare, command communications, Chairman Xi, it was in here, intelligence warfare. 2020, the CCP announced the modern warfare has evolved in the PLA strategies, new technologies, systems, space and counter-space strategy, doctrine, space and counter-space. It's only let's see, how big is this thing? This is 139 pages, 149 pages, 152. There's a gloss, including the glossary. We're at 174, something like that, and change. They're just going to cut out, they're going to take 2 sentences from this fucking thing and slap them together. Thank you, Jay.
First U.S. Air Force and Space Force Chief Softball Officer Nicholas Shaylon joins me now.
Wait a minute. We have somebody from Space Force? Get out of here. Not that one.
First new branch of the U.S. Armed Forces in 75 years, Space Force. Not since the Air Force.
That's right. Not since the Ass Force has somebody this big been on Fox.
Great to have you here.
It is. It's great to be had.
Damning is this report from, we have to always highlight this, Biden's own Defense Department?
It's incredibly damning. Damn it. I feel damned, and you're damned if you do. For God darn. Who is Mr. Single-Ended?
As you've seen, the fact that the Biden administration has to admit this publicly is telling, because you cannot hide these kind of results. Effectively, we gave the biggest gift to the Chinese Communist Party. They were able to negotiate with the Taliban months before the Taliban taking over Afghanistan.
You mean during the time that Trump had negotiated our exit?
And get access to the mining rights, and in the process, take over the entire economy of the nation.
Oh, good luck with that.
Can't unring a bell, but is the Biden administration doing anything going forward to win back the trust and confidence of our allies so that countries like China, like Russia, can't take advantage of what we did in Afghanistan?
We're out. What do you mean take advantage of what we did in Afghanistan? It's what we're not doing is the important thing. They were taking advantage of what we did in Afghanistan, which was fucking staying there for 20 years and wasting our fucking money, spinning our fucking wheels in the mud.
Yet to see it, but again, that shows you the importance of having a very strong military and also administration. And what you see here effectively is the Biden administration continuing to lack in leadership. And what you see here with Afghanistan, but also in China and Ukraine, is now effectively showing the results of this lack of leadership. And effectively, you end up in a situation where we are now at war with China. China is now taking over many of the U.S. industries.
The fuck are you talking about? What industries is China taking over in the U.S. at all, much less that is new progress in the last 2 fucking years?
I've yet to see the administration take any action to address it.
Any action. And all right, goddammit. Usually, I mean, obviously, maybe this guy. Okay. Let's see. Hold on. Like that, you're not even gonna fucking bother? I don't, honest to God. Did they think maybe they just think we can't read. Right? Maybe they think nobody looks at this stuff, or that Fox News viewers don't dare check other stuff. They won't look at this stuff. U.S. officials pushed to choke off China's access to critical semiconductor technology after internal debates and tough negotiations with allies. An effort by the Biden administration would try to use U.S. influence over global technology and supply chains to choke off China's access to advanced chip and chip production tools needed to power those abilities. This is October 13th. That shit already happened. Here you go. How Biden administration's export ban is choking off China's tech ambitions. That's CNN. Here you go. Newsweek. Joe Biden quietly crushes China's tech ambitions. I haven't seen a single thing. Why Biden's block on chips to China is a big deal. The new U.S. export controls on semiconductor technology will hurt Chinese industry. Xi Jinping has only himself to blame. Biden's unprecedented, you like that word? Semiconductor bet. That's from the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. Let's see. U.S. Federal Communications Commission bans sales import of Chinese tech from Huawei ZTE, November 25th, 2022. How the U.S.-Chinese technology war is changing the world, November 19th, 2022. None of these are coming from the Trump era, by the way. He did fucking trade tariffs. I honest to God don't know what the fuck this dude is talking about.
Of China vowing to crack down on hostile forces as hundreds of COVID-19 lockdown protesters are wreaking
hostile forces. And is this asshole trying to make like the threats against protesters look like a threat against the United States?
Across the nation while demanding the communist leadership step down. We have seen this crackdown on protesters really escalate by the CCP over the past 48 hours. Nicholas, what happens in the next 48 hours?
Yeah, tell us. You've been so wrong so quickly over stuff that's so easily checked. Now go into the realm of just pulling shit out of your ass on live television.
Obviously, we have to be very careful. A lot of people are hoping that the Chinese people are going to be able to stand against this kind of Chinese Communist Party regime. And let's face it, they have killed millions of people over the last 75 years to take control of the power in China. That's not going to happen. The CCP is not going to let the Chinese people to win this battle. And they will bring the tanks and continue to kill Chinese people that are opening up and talking.
So this guy's saying in the next 48 hours, China's going to roll in with tanks and kill, I suppose, millions of Chinese people. That's the prediction.
I've seen them use technology, including machine learning, to be able to track people using white papers to officially protest peacefully. And yet, there's, again, the Biden administration not really doing anything to help the Chinese people.
I think you're right in the sense that...
In a sense... What are we supposed to do? We're not going to invade another country that's having protests. They're being cautious about it because, again, the Chinese government, all they need is for the U.S. government to go, we stand by the protesters, for them to go, we knew it. You guys are behind this shit. It's the same shit you're doing in Iran. It's the same shit you're doing in Russia. This is the puppet hand. This isn't real people trying to actually have freedom. They're listening to your bullshit. And so we can crack down on these people because they're spies. They work for you.
Xi Jinping and the CCP aren't going to say, oh, well, people are protesting, let's all resign. But will China end up lifting those draconian COVID lockdowns as a result of these protests?
Well, according to the redacted assholes, they're already doing it, okay? The Chinese government has heard the people, and they're responding with warm, loving, grandpa snuggling kindness.
They have started to do that a little bit, but let's face it, the Chinese people are seeing what's happening with the World Cup, with hundreds of thousands of people meeting and without any masks. And yet in the meantime, you see 10 Chinese people dying in a fire because of being locked in their apartments with no ability to get out of the building. And so that's obviously going to create tensions. And the Chinese people are tired of
obviously
this regime that's really controlling their entire lives and not giving them any ability to succeed at any kind of scale, despite Apple CEO continuing to pretend otherwise.
No, he isn't. They're in the process of moving their factory out of there. The Foxconn facility definitely is a major focal point for them, but they already started moving production to Vietnam.
Biden actually hurting the power of these protesters by not coming out more forcefully in support of them?
Absolutely. I think it's a very tremendous lack of leadership again.
By the way, this asshole was like, we have to be very careful about the way the government and what we say. And then he's like, yeah, but he should come out and just blast the entire thing.
Because that's the opportunity for the United States to give a chance to the Chinese people to finally fight back against the Chinese Communist Party. This happened back in 1989.
Yeah, sometime in those decades. It's one man's 80s is another man's 70s.
And that's not something you see every day. And
that's true. It's not even something you see every decade.
First time, really, it's unprecedented.
It's unprecedented.
See the Chinese people openly calling for the President Xi to step down with the CCP as well. So we need to hopefully take action to help and push it slowly but surely, so the CCP can finally leave the control of the China to the Chinese people.
And we know if the roles were reversed, Xi Jinping and the CCP would be trolling Joe Biden and the United States extremely hard. Yet, more or less.
The fuck? What, so Biden's supposed to be trolling, like making jokes at Xi Jinping? Look, if you attack Xi Jinping's ego right now, he might kill protesters or order a more draconian steps on those people just to show you, because of the importance and power of face in the Chinese culture. There is a reason why if your enemy is down and, is beating himself up and he's on the ground, you don't have to kick him while he's down. He'll do himself in.
Crickets from Joe Biden with regard to China. Nicholas Shalon, thank you, sir.
I don't even know what the fuck that dude was supposedly there to say. Except for somehow, no matter what's happening, Joe Biden is doing the wrong thing. All right, I did a story earlier this morning talking about, by the way, you're watching Hal Sparks Mega Worldwide. Thank you. Appreciate you being here. And that includes trolls. I know trolls, congratulations. I just want to say congratulations. You found your safe space where you can, on the one hand, be an asshole. You have to keep the bigotry and the real abject racism down a little bit, but I believe in you. I think you can do it. And also, you found a space where everybody else can kind of let shit slide a little bit. So, like, we don't really care. Trolling is very 2015. But if you still make your living that way, what are you going to do? Oh, thank you, Tobias. We love our Canadian brothers and sisters. It's good people. All right, now. Earlier today, I was talking about the fact that the Russian Bernie bots and the Trump bots and the ones that we got used to in the last two election cycles were really cut their teeth on the Ron Paul revolution. That they really tried, they artificially boosted him through bots and criminal schemes to try and elevate his presidency, because he was really all about destroying these institutions from the inside out. A lot of his audit the Fed stuff was less about making sure we know where money goes and how it works and yada yada, to him just destroying the U.S. dollar as a reserve currency for the world. That's ultimately the impact that Ron Paul was hoping to have as a congressman and as a political gadfly. He's got a show which is just spectacular, and it's amazing how much a man can look like a Disney drawing of an old man. But this is his big important. The message he wants to send out is we need to fuck separating church and state. We need to separate tech and state. That's right. The end of the techopoly of modern society, back to paper ledgers and Luddite technology, right as America's getting a toehold on technology over the rest of the world. And we got to stop that. Let somebody else do it, because it's bad for us. Is that a moldy raisin with a suit jacket? Yes, it is. Okay, so here we go. The Ron Paul Liberty Report with a dove and a thing.
Oh, everybody.
Hi.
Tuning into.
Oh, man. All right, no excuse. You're too old. You don't know that kind of pattern on a jacket will moire. And also, why are you using a camera from 1992?
weekly report.
Look at the moirang on his jacket. That's amazing. It looks like it's made out of moving marble.
Tech and state. Senator Ed Markey recently got in touch with his inner mobster and threatened Elon Musk, the new owner of Twitter and the CEO of electric car company Tesla and space ventures company SpaceX. He told Musk, "Fix your companies or Congress will." As part of the threat...
Well, by the way, but for Twitter, and then you could argue that the money that he made on the other companies that he uses to pay for to buy Twitter is a lot of government contracts. Both Tesla, and Tesla only exists because of government bailouts, and SpaceX only exists because of government contracts. So this idea that this asshole created something that's just consumer electronics and holy shit, he even registers as a Steve Jobs or even a Tim Cook at this point is kind of fucking ridiculous.
Referred to an ongoing National Highway Traffic Safety Administration investigation into Tesla's autopilot driving system,
which doesn't drive or pilot itself automatically.
Twitter's 2011 consent decree with the Federal Trade Commission. Markey has done more than make threats. He is one of a group of Democratic senators who wrote to the FTC urging an investigation into whether Musk's actions as the new owner of Twitter violated the consent decree or consumer protection laws. Since FTC Chairman Lena Khan wants to investigate...
This is great. This is what, by the way, congratulations. You now know what it's like to be a time traveler. Because this is what it's going to be like when we're all old watching Ben Shapiro's show. An old fart in a jacket reading from a laptop.
Many businesses as possible, it is likely she will respond favorably to the senator's letter. President Biden...
Oh, thank God they edited it.
Also endorsed an investigation into the role foreign investors played in financing Musk's Twitter purchase.
Yes, namely the Saudis, but go ahead.
May be concerned that Musk is not likely to ban tweets regarding Hunter Biden's business deals. Concerns that Musk would allow tweets containing information.
That's the problem with modern YouTubers. It's like these kids today and their hyper edits. I don't get it.
Embarrassing.
You can't do it in one take? What the fuck's the matter with you kids today? I swear to God.
Worse, to the Biden administration point to the real reason many Democratic politicians and progressive writers and activists are attacking Musk. They support efforts to suppress conservative, libertarian, and other non-woke speech on social media.
By the way, by non-woke, he means blatantly anti-Semitic, anti-LGBTQ, and calls for violence.
They view the prospect of a major platform refusing to silence those who dissent from the woke mob or the Democratic Party establishment as a threat to their power.
Then why don't we give a fuck about like Ben Shapiro and other people like that who just manage to do it without saying bigoted phrases, where they can be, obviously they have bigoted thoughts, but they're able to articulate it in a way that doesn't violate the terms of service, and the rest of us kind of don't give a fuck. It's the ones who actively call for violence. That's the problem. There's a distinction.
Further angered.
I know, it's a pretty good crowd we got in here tonight, I gotta say. It's a big group. Hi. Share the show. Like, subscribe, thumbs up. Hi. Yeah, it's nice.
By committing what? To many Democrats and Liz Cheney is the ultimate hate crime, allowing Donald Trump back on Twitter. The threat...
No, I think it's got value just destroying Truth Social.
As Musk shows the threat to liberty is not just from big tech, it's from the alliance between big tech and big government.
Ah, that's what it is. When they get like that. Once you get the select committee on intelligence lined up with I don't know, the company that makes NutriBullet, or like, can you imagine Maytag and the DOD getting together? Why do you think the Russians are stealing washing machines? Those things will fucking chew you up and spit you out.
Some conservatives think that increasing government's power over social media is the correct way to make big tech respect free speech.
This is Gordian knot for libertarians. Let's see how he handles it.
However, increasing the U.S. government's power over social media can just end up putting more power behind government threats like those from Representative Markey.
Well, there you go then, I guess. So if these companies decide to be woke and kick people off, then it's their ass and you just leave. Okay.
Expanded government control over how social media companies conduct their business can also further incentivize the companies to work with the federal government to shut down free speech. Once the government
It's just no pleasing some people. That's just what Jesus said, sir.
steps in with increased regulations, the risk is that greater government control over what is communicated or social media will follow. The question will just be who is calling the shots on the exercise of that control. Will the result be an increase of the liberal or woke pressure on social media companies to silence conservatives, libertarians, opponents of teaching critical race theory, and transgenderism in schools?
Transgenderism is very interesting. That's where you hypnotize people into thinking they're a boy or a girl when they aren't.
Those who question the safety and
Again, sleep. And when you wake up, you will be a boy who wants to compete in women's sports and rise into like, oh my God. All right.
effectiveness of COVID vaccines. Alternatively, will a new sort of pressure become dominant? Maybe
Jesus Christ. Do people watch this shit?
pressure to comply with conservative or Republican preferred
Please tell me he's got a minute left. There's no fucking way he pivots to a conversation.
limits on speech. Either way,
God damn, the edits too. Holy shit.
liberty
Just let Rand do it. At least we can make fun of his hair.
loses. Big tech companies silence their users to curry favor with politicians and bureaucrats.
Or their customer base who don't want to hang out in basically a bigoted Reddit thread all of a sudden. They would just rather have a social media place be more like a public square where you can't just whip your dick out or scream at racial epithets at people because they'll come and tell you to fuck off.
Often after encouragement from the politicians and bureaucrats. Therefore, to end big tech censorship, Americans should
Oh my goodness, I've dozed off. Heavens to Murgatroyd. What were you saying, Ron? You were going on and on a bit, like the old poop, old codger, old dolt, old ramshackle. Tell me what. I was getting to be a little nappy after a while. Please, go on. You were saying.
and that all government officials,
all of them,
including the president, not violate the First Amendment.
That's right. And you should never make a government able to force a private company to make an account for a government official and oh shit.
We must work to put an end to government officials pressuring or even encouraging social media platforms either to silence any American citizen because of his opinions or to downplay or suppress any news story.
How about if they have somebody violate their terms of service and the government tries to force them to bring that person back? Aha! How about that? Anybody? Any libertarians out there want to work through that one?
The way to protect free speech online is to separate tech and state. Thanks for listening.
Oh, God. You're welcome. Jesus, that was... I'm sorry. I feel like I've been shot with a Ferrari dart. Fucking hell. The important thing is that we destroy any functioning systems of governance that we have, because the key to libertarianism is a libertine philosophy of the Old West. Town hangings, everyone has a gun, even toddlers, and people could die from a scratch from a rusty nail. And if they don't want to, they have the freedom to wander off into the woods and be eaten by a bar. Shit. Do I smell almonds? Exactly. All right. Oh, shit. I'm like... I got it's 5'11", which is the kind of jeans I wear. Too much? All right. Shit. Ready to interesting. Okay. Oh my God. This can't be the cover. Look at this. Hold on one second. Really an interesting read. Would make a great Christmas gift. Get your copy of The Return, Trump's Big 2024 Comeback. Dick Morris wrote a book called The Return, Trump's Big 2024 Comeback. And that's the fucking cover? Good God. It's like, is nobody spending any money? Here's Mike Lee's Saving 9. Whatever. 9. Buy this book about the wonderful butterfly. It's the most anti-gay children's book you can possibly find. And perhaps the biggest price of all because of what is being allowed to happen on our southern border, which is just okay. Yeah, he's just getting into like racist bullshit. I think we got through. Yeah, we got through all of them today. Look at that, and I can't believe it. I made it through all my clips today. Not all of them, because there's an entire list, but of the ones that I picked that I was like, I think I have time for all of these, and I only went a little bit over. I'm very proud. Anyways, much love to you guys. Thank you for tuning in. I can't tell you how much I appreciate it, but I'll try. Thank you very much. I love you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Thursday shows, and many people know, is at 4 o'clock Pacific instead of 3 o'clock Pacific because I have family FaceTime on Thursdays, and I don't move family stuff. So since before the show even existed, that was the time slot, and we stick to it. So I hope that's okay with you guys. And then Chip is doing great. He's very upset that I'm not home right now. He gets very confused because I get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and feed him, and Summer does not. So he just bugs her. Ficus will be back tomorrow. And I'm going to try and get Mike Pillow for an interview. I have his phone number. I'm going to reach out. Wish me luck. Ugh. Please tell me he can be on the radio show on Saturday. Please. I just want him in the first hour. Is it too much to ask? Oh, it'd be so good. Oh, God. I'm so excited. Anyways, and until then, remember...
when they gaze upon Yosemite.
Sorry, that's not what I want to do. Remember the great tech. We have to separate tech and government.
Computer board.
That's right. You have to separate the computer boards.
Voila.
That's right. Just like that. And if we have this kind of technology, remember.
They're de-engineering.
Yeah, they're going to de-engineer all of that and then use the circuits to follow you around.
Action replays in magnified fortune.
That's right. Whatever you do, they're going to record it and play it back. And I want to remind you guys that at the very least, the Republicans are the law and order party.
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Right. Well, that said.
Michigan gave us Motang.
And we appreciate it. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the tang, Michigan. I think I backed myself into a corner. I know. It's absolutely true. So until next time, I will see you guys. Take care of yourself and take care of somebody else. I love you guys, and I'll see you tomorrow. Oh, and sorry. Unless you're watching the stand-up show tonight, in which case I'll see you guys later. Okay, bye.